What is going on, everybody? Bane 196CI here. Can't even say my own screen name anymore. I figured this is going to be the actual official update video as far as getting this car running. As you see, I took the jack stands down already. Tightened the lug nuts and the CV axle bolts. Yeah, I need to get a new fuel pressure gauge because this one, as you see, the gasket for some reason is coming off and it's like blocking the needle from reading correctly, so I have to shake it a little bit. Anyway, what we're doing today, other than waiting for this hydraulic clutch pressure line, as you can see right there, yeah, that's a huge crack, and you can even see the fluid making it around that crack wet, so that's how I know it's gonna be bleeding air out of there. But I already ordered it, so I just have to wait for it to come in the mail so I can bleed the clutch out and I can actually do a test drive. But for now, what I'm gonna do is I just figured out my thermostat here. It's an old one, as you can see, the discoloration of the metal on the inside, if that's not plastic itself. It's either fail-safe or the plastics just warped that bad to where it won't close anymore. So it's stuck open. So that's trash. But I managed to find another one inside my house because I used to have a two-door red car like this, as well as a gray four-door, as well as a gold four-door that was the brother to this car. I mean, it was the same champagne gold, but it was a four-door. So I really missed that car. But anyway, this is the thermostat out of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in this one. I already tested it inside. I was boiling some water in a pot, and it did open. When I took it out, it closed like in a matter of not seconds, but it closed. As I have the central air running like, I don't know, 70 degrees right now, so it closes when you take it out of the hot water. But I was testing it by boiling it in a pan of hot water, and it would open. And again, as soon as I took it out, it would start to close. So that lets me know this is good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in now, as I already took out the old one and threw it off to the side. After I do that, I'll go ahead and give it a test start, or a test start. I'll go ahead and turn it back on, and I'm gonna let it run for about another hour. That way it breaks in. I calculated the total time that this motor hasn't been running and like taken apart. The total time's about 5 years. So yeah, this thing hasn't been idling or driven on the road for about 5 years. So that freaks me out. I told you my memory was bad. Anyway, let me go ahead and put this in, and then I'm gonna continue the video with the movie magic when I do this. And there we go. Even though I was looking at the wrong spot, it's already on, hose is on, clamp is on. I just wanted to point out that this is a very useful item to have. As much as, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows that certain cars have air bleeder valves, so you have to bleed the air. You have to open those up before you even try to fill it back up. But this just allows it to attach with a couple of little doodads that it has in there. It'll attach to the top like a regular radiator cap. And I can overfill this thing like crazy and let all the air, all the bubbles come out. And especially after the thermostat opens up, the rest of the bubbles and the air will come out. Then I can go ahead and with the little stopper it comes with, I can plunge it back down in the center of it, and it'll keep all that stuff. It's that little one right there. It'll keep all the stuff from coming back out, and I can just lift it off and then pour it back into a can if I had extra. But I shouldn't, as much as I'm gonna need to add some. I was able to catch most of what I spilt with some oil pans down there. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that to fill this back up, and then if I need more, I'll just add water, because I only spilled like a little bit. Alrighty, let me go ahead and do this real quick. I guess for the sake of the video, I'll explain how it works a little bit better. So it comes with a bunch of these attachments here. This is the one particularly for the Acura, and I bought this off of Amazon. So you will have to adjust these for aftermarket radiators for it to fit properly and screw on. But there's a whole bunch of other attachments. I got one for Pontiac, Chevy, and I want to say that's Volkswagen, most older Volkswagens. But mine in particular is green. So let me go ahead and slap this on real quick. And voila. That's how it looks when everything's connected and going on. So now I can go ahead and open up that bleeder valve. I need a 12 millimeter, so I gotta go back inside. Open up that one bleeder valve I have, and then I'm gonna start pouring the coolant that I caught in my oil pans back into this funnel, and then let the car run for a little bit longer, and you'll see that right about like that. So I'm being reluctant to pour this coolant in there or let it go in there. As you see, there's a little bit of contaminants that came out. I'm not sure if that was from inside the coolant already, or if it just splashed down all that stuff as it was falling from the thermostat housing, you know, and collected that stuff on the way down. Either way, I really shouldn't be too worried, as much as if it's floating to the top already, that I pull this valve and let, you know, the coolant go back in. Even if it were to go into the system right now, which I'm going to add a little bit more water to this bucket here anyway. I'm barely at the halfway mark. So I could add a good another 800 milliliters of water, or 400 milliliters of water, I mean. And once it's to the top, I'm just going to pull this plug and let the air just kind of bleed out with the engine off. And then I'll go ahead and turn the motor on and let the rest of it bleed out as the thermostat opens up. So let's go ahead and do this. I just pulled that plug out about 5 seconds ago. You can hear the air coming out of that. And it practically took all the coolant, and there we go. So I want to say it's about good. Otherwise, it would be like making bubble noises as it's coming out. But as you saw, that wasn't a good flow because there was so much pressure, because I had this filled up all the way. And that's another thing about fluid dynamics. When you have enough fluid pressure on the top, it's just like trying to hold back a wall of water, you know, on a small part, like how dams have their pressure reliefs, or I forget what they call them really, but to me it's a pressure relief, because when the dam gets so full and they have to let go of some water, they open up a small port on a dam, and that water just gushing out at like thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of gallons per second. It's crazy. YouTube it, dam relief valves, and the water pressure that comes out of those things is crazy. But I'm gonna go ahead and fill this back up real quick, open that up for a little bit longer, and then, as I said, we're gonna go ahead and start it. That way the thermostat can open up and it'll bleed the rest of the air out of the system. Okay, so we got that all filled up without the thermostat open yet. I have the car alarm and the factory car alarm, but I lost my remote, so these doors lock on themselves a lot. And excuse the sweat mark, I sweat a lot when I work, so sorry. But let's go ahead. So I turned the AC off for the second. And again, this is that it hasn't been started in 5 years. This car hasn't been running in 5 years, guys. 5 years. That I freaked myself out when I realized that the other day. But for 5 years of not running, I want to say this thing sounds pretty calm. I mean, she's idling normal. The timing belt I'm gonna have to order, but I have the clutch hose coming in. As I already showed you before, it has a crack in it, so I can't even drive it anyway. But the timing belt will be coming in at the end of the month. So, or a little bit after the end of the month. But anyway, yeah, that's how she sounds for not running in 5 years. I'm definitely gonna test drive her normally for at least 1,000 miles, if not 500 miles, as if I had the motor rebuilt. But honestly, the only thing I've done to this since it's been running last was new CV axles, new fuel filter, the new fuel rails, updated fuel rails. We have a new clutch kit in from Spec Clutch, the new Exity slave cylinder that I got for a Honda Prelude, but it fits the Acura Legend just the same. So quick tip, if anybody has a 5 or 6 speed car like I have, and that slave cylinder is going out on you, you can use a Prelude, no problem. But I fixed the ABS on this thing. I have a new ABS control module. I fixed the lateral G sensor on this thing. I need to put my traction control unit back on, but I'm pretty sure that's in the storage unit way out there. You know, and I'm just waiting on that. I fixed the AC on this thing. I fixed the cigarette lighter on this thing. Just for the proof of purchase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know that I need to get a new shift knob and I need to clean the interior, but again, this is Bain 196 Ci's luxury sport LS 93 Acura Legend 6-speed coupe. I took power steering out of this thing because, you know, real men drive without a power steering. So no power steering, but we do have AC. We do have everything else that works except for cruise control. I don't understand why this thing came with cruise control, but that went immediately because that was a big old ugly deal that was sitting right here, and a bunch of other wires that connected down over there, and no, we're not doing that. But anyway, that's pretty much the gist of this video for the update for the channel. This is going to be the official update video. I have a lot of other videos I recorded that I do not like the way I sound. Because I sound pretty depressed because this thing wasn't running. But now that I have everything running, you know, myself, OBX race headers with a DEI titanium header wrap. From the Y to the deleted cat, all 3 cats are gone. I have the factory exhaust from the cat back. But I don't think I can see the headers. Oh yeah, you can. But yeah, OBX race headers. There we go. OBX race headers with DEI titanium header wrap. That way I keep from melting my AC line. But yeah, you guys have a blessed day. One love, 196 Ci out.